Today we are going to introduce our work in Assignment 1. Here are our group members: Qizhenzhu, Yechen, Zifan Zhang, Yiqian An, Jingchen Huang. And first we'll have Yichen to introduce his part of task designing.
Okay, thank you, Mia. All right, in this part, I will introduce the task designing. We designed 5 abstract tasks and 2 concrete tasks for each abstract task. The first abstract task is navigate to a specific page. Our purpose is trying to test users if they can find the information they want in the e-textbook. So we designed 2 concrete tasks to help users to be familiar with the e-textbook. So the first concrete task is read page 42 and tell me if concrete tasks is mentioned on this page. And the second concrete task is read and find information about UX goals on page 359 of the e-textbook. And the second abstract task is search a word in the textbook. This task is trying to test if users can use the searching box to find specific word in the is search how many UX goals the e-textbook have. And the second one is search the introduction of the e-textbook. Check whether this chapter has the word result. The third abstract task is zoom in and zoom out. Our group members think that this function is very useful for user to take a close or cursory look at the content. So the first concrete task is make figure 1 to 2 on page 21 big enough that you can read the content on figure. And the second one is suppose that you are reading page 611, make the page small enough that and count how many paragraphs in this page. The fourth abstract task is making notes. Our purpose is trying to help user write down anything they want and interested for specific content. So the first concrete task is write a summary about the figure 10 to 1 on page 360. And the second one is suppose that you are reading UX goals on page 361. Write your own experience of UX goals in your life. The last abstract task is add or delete highlight of specific content. Highlighting is very necessary and useful function for e-textbook, so that if they can use this function easily. The first concrete task is suppose that you are reading page 211. Highlight the second sentence of this page and with red color. And the second one is delete the highlight you made on page 211. Next, my teammate Jinchen will introduce his parts.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm going to talk about the think loud evaluation. Well, here is the user development practice. As you can see, we have 5 users in our study. All of them are come from University of Sydney. Rationale for the specs list above. Education level is a good way to show users' general knowledge level. For the occupation, with this information, we can find the influence of different occupation maybe have influence on the user's experience. For the OIs, people in different UIs may have different understanding of how the UI work. And age and gender are 2 nature differences of human. We can find the different preference and habits on those 2 aspects. If our user is professional in this area, he or she's opinion may be more important than others. That's the performance data for our users. As you can see, all of the users finished most of our tasks by themselves. Here, the summary of observations. The first task, go to the specific page. Maybe because this is the first time they use this system, they have relatively more problem with it. One of our users used 3 times to get the job done. And the first task in the second abstract task did not went well too. One of other user click the wrong button, turn to the system page. It will be shown by our colleague later with the screenshot. Other tasks run relatively smooth. Here are the summary of strengths and problems. There are limited strengths on the system. The results searching is relatively good. It shows the results fast, highlights them. But for the problems, we think the system has many places to change. Like have a loading status, a label for each button, or more color choice in the highlight too. Okay, hand over to Michael to talk about the heuristic evaluation.
Okay, thanks, Jinchen. My name is Michael, and this part is heuristic evaluation. We listed 22 problems combined with heuristics violates we found in a textbook system, and we all give our own assessment of severity for each problem. The higher rating the problem gets, more serious it is. For example, we found search results present not only the whole phrase input, but also one of the phrase words. I mean, when we search for a phrase like US goals, but the result also present other goals, which may affect our jobs. So we give it median rating. The heuristics violated in this problem is matched between system and the real world. But some problems like there's no search function that can limit the scope seems like not very serious. So we give it a relatively low rating because it doesn't need to be fixed unless extra time is available on project. One of the most problems we found is the system has no clue of how to use the UI. For instance, it's really hard for us to find how to delete highlight we made. Here are some screenshots we took to explain the problems more deeply. Okay, that's the end of my part. Thank you. Let's welcome Stephen to introduce next part.
Thanks, Michael. I'm going to talk about the reflection, which is on the nature of problems. In Think Aloud, things are common and varied. The problems are generally simple and easy to understand, which involves many aspects. But in heuristic evaluation, things are more professional. The problems summarized by experts are deeper and closer to the essence of the problem. And also it's more accurate. The experts will be more rigorous and thoughtful about the analysis and evaluation process. They usually notice more information. About the critique, first I will introduce about the task design. I think the level of difficulty of us is not being established very well, and it's also lack of effectiveness. And about the user population, which is not representative, and the quantity is not enough as well. The validity of Think Aloud is low because the users often choose the results without consideration and comparison. The validity of heuristic evaluation results is high because experts value the use of function deeply and think of problems based on technical knowledge. That's all. Thank you.